again. Hey guys, welcome back to Creek Rise Outdoors. Thank you so much for coming along. I'm Scott Keith, and we just got to 99 subscribers, which is really cool. For those of you that have hit the like button, and especially those that have made some nice comments about my retirement or just enjoying the video, thanks a lot. That means a lot, and I'm excited. I'm excited that some folks are liking it out there. And so whoever's the 100th subscriber, thank you too. You might be watching it right now. We're right close to when the rut should be happening here in the north central Florida area. And so that's what I wanted to talk about real quick is the rut. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning. I think tomorrow morning will be a great chance for me to get a buck. I'm hopeful that the target buck and or that 10 point that I mentioned in the last video that was cruising through, I'm hoping one of those comes through. I checked, went out and pulled my camera cards, not all of them, but some of them that I could get to fairly inconspicuously, let's say. And I pulled some of those and just checked them out, and there's the buck activity has increased dramatically. I did see a couple of scrapes, I did see a couple of smaller rubs, I did see a couple of bigger rubs. I didn't stick around to try to take pictures or video those. I just wanted to get back out of the woods while I could. So I spent the last hour looking at all of the video to determine where the bucks are, what they're doing, and what my next steps are. And trying to determine when the rut is. It's totally dependent on, number one, your area, but a lot of other factors. I have been on this property for 4 years now, and I've been able to start to understand and pattern a little bit about when will bucks be in a rutting behavior to where I can see them at daylight. And whatever you think of the rut, whether or not you think it's the seeking, the chasing, the tending stage, whatever the case is, to me the most important aspect of the rut is, are you seeing a buck moving through where you're sitting in daylight hours, in shooting hours? The northern half of the United States typically has a more defined and focused rut period, a couple of week period where maybe it's November 8th through 20th or so, and that's when folks take off school, they take off work, they actually get in the woods, they know that there's going to be a lot of bucks, mature bucks specifically, moving around. Here in Florida, it's a wild card. It just depends on where you are. So there are 4 specific zones in Florida from a hunting perspective, and each with its own unique season for archery, muzzleloader, or gun, etc. And those zones are pretty varied based on the fact that the rut activity is varied across the state of Florida. Zone A starts archery season back on July 31st, and that coincides very nicely with when the rut activity is in southern Florida. Zone B is a really small area right in the general Orlando area. It's a very small pocket, and its rut activity is uniquely different. Zone B actually starts archery season October 16th, in part because the rut activity starts a little bit later. Zone C, which is where I am, my property is, archery season starts September 18th. I have a lot of buddies that believe that the archery season on September 18th, that's when the peak of the rut is happening in Zone C. And I believe in some parts of Zone C, which is the biggest zone in Florida, I believe that's the case. But I also think in Zone C, sometimes it's November 1st, November 10th rut. Zone D starts its archery season October 23rd and has a very long season, and much of the rut activity there happens after the turn of the year into January, actually. And many of the folks that hunt there have similar rut activity than you would see that you would see maybe in Alabama as well. As you take a look at this next map, you'll see the white-tailed deer breeding chronology that my FWC, the Florida Wildlife Commission, put out, and it shows just how it lines up with most of the different dates for hunting seasons. You see South Florida in the lightest area has mean conception dates of July 22nd, August 31st. That dark blue dot right in the middle where Mickey Mouse resides, you see that. Look at that, mean conception dates, February 1st to March 3rd. It's fairly broad right there, but that's why their hunting season starts later even than Zone C. Zone C is really broad, and you can see by the variation of colors, a little bit of lighter green, modest side, maybe moss green, and then as it gets a little bit darker into slightly blue. The county that I'm in shows mean conception dates of October 1 through November 30th. Then you can see all the way up to the northwest part of the state, Zone D, where it more coincides with maybe Alabama, and in which the rut activity is much later in the season as well. And so So for you northerners up there, congratulations on being able to take a couple of weeks off and figure out when to go hunt the rut. For us Floridians specifically, but this happens in Texas and happens in South Carolina, different places, in lots of different states. There's just a variety of times to go hunt the bucks. What I have found is patterning the bucks along the way with trail cameras and then understanding and watching the rubs and the scrapes. So right now, rubs are starting to fire off, scrapes are starting to fire off. If you're a Floridian and you've got a specific time that you think the rut's happening in your neck of the woods, drop a comment below, let me know what that is. And also, if you're from another state and it's very consistent or different as well, just shoot me a note. Love to know when you think your peak rut is, and so I can follow along with that as well. Anyway, tomorrow morning I hope to be able to be dragging a buck out of the woods with a little bit more venison. Maybe the target buck, maybe just a random roamer. But until then, I'm going to enjoy this beautiful sunset and God's great nature. And prayers for all of you. Appreciate you joining, and God bless. Take care, guys.